ask you tonight to commit yourself to the defense of the foundations of our republic. Commit yourselves to living in truth. Commit yourselves to rising above partisanship. As you go to the polls this year, I ask you to look beyond party. I ask you to find and support candidates who will defend the Constitution, candidates that you know will do the right thing. And please spread the word about how high the stakes are and how important this election is. And consider running for office yourselves. Lord knows we need good candidates. But if you think about the challenges that we're facing, both the challenges that we're facing internationally and the challenges we're facing here at home, and then you think about the caliber of some of the people that we're electing to Congress. But it means we need more candidates running. When you go in and you vote, we need to be able to choose somebody who's excellent. And I want to say a particular word tonight to the women in the audience. I often have women come to see me who are thinking about running for office, and men come to see me too. Too often, women candidates who come to see me come with a list of things they don't know how to do. You know, a woman will come to me and say, well, I've never organized, going door to door before, or I've never done an interview with the press, or I don't know how to fundraise. And I can tell you, and you won't be surprised, that not one single man has ever come to me with a list of what he doesn't know how to do. And the men have no idea what they're doing. So I ask you, please, please, think about what you can do besides working for good candidates and voting for good candidates. Please think about putting your name on the ballot yourself. And obviously do this only if you're going to defend the Constitution. If you're not, then, then don't. But we cannot be bystanders. We can't be bystanders. If we don't defend this incredible republic, our land of freedom, then no one else will. John F. Kennedy said that there have been very few generations in the whole history of mankind who have had the obligation and the duty and the blessing of being called on to defend freedom in its maximum hour of peril. And ladies and gentlemen, that is what we are facing. It is now up to us to do that. There's no question that today the Republican Party is not operating on the basis of conservative principles or substance. I mean, if you think about, for example, what's happening today, if you think about how many Republicans are embracing Vladimir Putin, I mean, just think about that. And the thing that's pretty stunning is many of those same people would say they're Reagan Republicans. I talk about the people that you really have to be afraid of are the people that carry the Constitution around in their pocket, but they've never actually read it. And I think that's, there has for a long time been in the Republican Party, and as there is in the Democratic Party, the sort of debates within the parties about, people who are more progressive or less progressive, and the same, and people who are more conservative or more moderate in the Republican Party. Those debates have always gone on. But what's happened now is something entirely new. And what's happened now is, this fidelity to one man. I mean, think about the party and what is necessary within the Republican Party today to succeed, and what's necessary. And I don't know a diplomatic way to say it, but what's necessary is lying. We need to make sure that our elected officials know that we expect them to know that some things matter. And when a party gets to the place where defending the leader of the party requires that you pretend that he's not actually saying things that are dangerous to the nation, that you somehow accept what he's saying or try to rationalize it. We've seen that happen in other places, and that's what's happened to the party today. And I think getting back to a place, and I believe it's crucial, particularly today, if you look at the national security situation.
Yes.
We have to be able to have a debate in this country about America's role in the world. And the Republican Party right now is not engaging in any responsible way in that debate or the formulation of that policy. There are several places where I think there's clear bipartisan agreement. And one of those, for example, is increasing the protection for election workers, for people who work at polls. There's been such an assault on people who volunteer as poll watchers, as election workers, that as you know, we're having a hard time now in many states finding people to do that work. And I think those kinds of protections are very important. There are some basic protections we need to think about. I also think that we really need to take a look at our primary systems. And we're in a situation where in too many places, because of the way the primary systems work, we end up with the most extreme candidates. And then you combine that with the way our districts are drawn. And I think we know that it's not serving us well. And I think looking at things like multi-partisan primaries, bipartisan primaries,
ranked choice voting.
Yeah, I mean, I have not been a fan of ranked choice voting, but I think we need to look at it. I think that we've got to find ways to stop sort of driving our candidates into sort of the more and more extreme positions. I think that, we worked in the House on reform of the Electoral Count Act, and the version that the House passed was better than the Senate version. I won't say who it was. I can't remember. I might actually name her in the book, but I did when Senate was working on a reform of the Electoral Count Act. The House did our version, and in the middle of it all, I got a call from a senator who was working on the Senate version, and she was really angry with me, and it became clear she was mad at me that the House was legislating. And we actually have like two chambers, and we get to legislate.
Article 1.
Yeah, right, exactly. That's what we do. But I think that it's important to remember, though, that we should do everything that we can to help to protect our system. But at the end of the day, we can't protect ourselves from a president who's willing to blow through all those guardrails. Candidates matter so much because we give a president tremendous power. And if he's determined to seize power, to abuse it, to stay in office, it's very difficult to stop him.